Thank you for being here again this afternoon. I just wanted to provide a quick update with some details in relation to some incidents at Sydney Airport. I wanted to update you in relation to this matter. My intention is to provide these details, and up on the screen you'll see some of the photos which don't identify the people that were intercepted by the counter-terrorism unit officers, but nonetheless provide you with some context. I'm not going to take any questions in relation to operational matters. I'm happy to take questions in relation to issues otherwise, but I'm not going to provide any further detail beyond that which I provide now. At Sydney Airport, Sydney International Airport last week, there were 5 males. The age range was between early 20s and early 30s. They were intercepted by Australian Border Force officers. The counter-terrorism unit officers became involved in the intervention. The 5 were offloaded from the flight and they were interviewed. There was suspicion regarding their travel plans. Searches of the luggage revealed each individual had a large amount of cash in the vicinity of $10,000 each. The 5 individuals reattempted departure again the next day, and they were again intercepted, and obviously the Australian Border Force officers are working with the Australian Federal Police and with other agencies. The second incident relates to 2 males related or connected with, it's believed, the other 5. This incident occurred last weekend. The 2 males were aged between late 20s and early 30s. Again, they were offloaded from a flight at Sydney International Airport and they were interviewed. The counter-terrorism unit officers provided support, and the 2 again reattempted departure the next day, but both again were intercepted. The point that I think is most important here is to recognise that the government's efforts to keep Australians safe remains absolutely paramount. And all of us are seeing the dreadful scenes out of Bangkok, and all of us know well the scenes that have played out in relation to terrorist events in Paris, in relation to Canada, other parts of the world, of course, including in Sydney and Melbourne. The Australian government has put a significant amount of money back into our intelligence and security agencies, and we have stood up 80 counter-terrorism unit officers at the 8 international airports. The work that they do, the intercepts that they undertake, means that these people do not go into a theatre of war. They do not go into countries like Syria or Iraq to be trained up in terrorism activities and then to come back here to perform those acts here on Australian soil. That's why it's important for the CTU officers to do the work that they do, to work obviously in very close cooperation with the Australian Federal Police and with other government agencies. And this highlights again the fact that this threat to our country remains current and ongoing, and we need to make sure that we provide every support to our frontline officers to make sure that we can deal with this very real and present threat.
Minister, I don't know whether you can answer this, but were their passports confiscated after the first attempt?
I don't have any further information in relation to operational matters.
Where they were bound?
No.
Just a terminology question. When you say offloaded, does that mean they're already on the plane?
It would mean it can mean that they were on the plane, or it can mean that they were within the departure area. So it can mean either. Yep.
Are you able to say whether or not they were dual nationals at all?
I'm not prepared to say.
To date, how many of these intercepts have been made at airports?
Well, in the last financial year, so in 2014-15, the number was over 350, so a significant number, and I'll just have to confirm that number for you. But there's been a worrying number already this financial year, and we'll have more to say about that in due course. But I'll just confirm that number for you. That I just haven't got the exact number in front of me.
Are they all from Sydney?
I'm not prepared to say. All right.
Minister, can I ask, there's a story a week or so ago that suggested that NSC has been looking at trying to make an announceable on national security each week between now and the election. Is that right?
Look, I'm not going to go into nonsense gossip questions. I mean, this is serious issue, and I think people understand it's a very serious issue.
Have any of these gentlemen been charged yet?
That would be a matter for the Australian Federal Police to comment on, but obviously the ABF officers work with the Australian Federal Police counter-terrorism section and obviously other agencies. So if there's any further advice, we can provide that in due course.
Minister, the Fin Review's comments with regard to the government wanting a weekly announceable on national security might be gossip, but the Prime Minister did say to the party room a week ago he wants his MPs talking about national security. Now, you're speaking about a national security issue with scant detail. Are the two totally disconnected, or is this part of the government's effort to talk about this topic more as the Prime Minister requested?
Tim, I'm reporting to you on facts as they've occurred, and obviously the fact is that these incidents have occurred at Sydney International Airport, and I'm providing you with the detail that I can provide to you at this point in time. We're not going to sacrifice operations. We're not going to impinge on operational activities that would be undertaken as you would expect, and we've consulted obviously with the law enforcement and intelligence agencies about the appropriateness of the detail that can be released at this point in time, because it is a very important message for the Australian public to hear. If people have information, if families are concerned about the travel plans, about the activity, particularly of young people within their families, they need to report that information to the Australian Federal Police or to Crime Stoppers. And it is important for us to release the information when it's available. I provided some information this morning, and one of the journalists, highly respected journalists, asked for more information. I thought that was a reasonable request, and our intention was to release the information when and as appropriate. That's what we've done this afternoon. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Are they still in the community,